Hello readers. So today I'm going to summarize one of my favorite books of all time named The Little Prince. The writing and the illustrations of this book are really nice, so it is highly recommended. Now let's look into the characters. So we have the character of the Little Prince, the narrator. Narrator is a pilot. The rose, the fox, the snake, the king, the vain man, the drunkard, the businessman, the lamplighter, and the geographer. All of these characters appear one by one in the story. So the story begins when the narrator is talking about his unfulfilled dream of becoming an artist. So the narrator says that when he was 6 years old, he used to draw different things, and he remembered his drawing number one. There was a picture of a boa constrictor swallowing a wild beast, and then he did his drawing number two in which it was digesting an elephant. But when he showed his drawing to the grown-ups, they were like, "This is hat, right?" And he was like, "No, it is a boa constrictor who is swallowing an elephant." And then he drew an elephant inside the belly of a boa constrictor, then showed it to them to understand what he is talking about. After some time, he realized that living in the grown-up world, this is not something I'm going to excel in. So he ended up becoming a pilot. So this was all the background of his story, and now the story starts from the present, where the narrator is narrating about what happened 6 years ago when he had a breakdown in Sahara Desert. Something was broken in his engine. He didn't have food or water that would last for more than 8 days, and suddenly he heard somebody's voice, and the voice said, "Please draw me a sheep." The narrator looked at him and he saw a really tiny human and was like, "Who are you?" But the voice repeated again, "Please draw me a sheep." After a few minutes of the conversation, the narrator realized that there is no escape from drawing the sheep, so he actually drew a sheep. But then the little prince said that this is not the sheep he was talking about. So at the end, after 2-3 failed attempts, the narrator drew a box and said to the little prince, "In this box is your sheep." So looking at the box, looking at this drawing, the little prince became really happy that, "Oh, actually I wanted a drawing like this. I wanted a sheep not to escape into my little planet." And the narrator was confused that from where this small living thing has come all in this desert that is away from any human habitations, and there is no one else inside. But the thing was that he couldn't get the information out of the little prince. It took him some days to extract out all the information from little prince. And then the narrator came to the conclusion that the little prince might be from asteroid B612. This asteroid was seen once through a telescope by a Turkish astronomer in 1909. But when this astronomer gave his lecture about his discovery at an international congress of astronomy, nobody believed him because he was wearing those Turkish clothes. And then after some years, in 1920, again this lecture he gave, but this time he was wearing European clothes, and this time everybody agreed that okay, asteroid B612 actually exists. It was on the third day that the narrator came to know about the problems of baobabs in the Little Prince's planet. Actually, the planet of the Little Prince was really small, even smaller than a house. And there were baobabs. Baobabs are really big plants. And the Little Prince was like, "Will the sheep eat baobabs?" And the narrator said, "No, but those plants are really big. How can she eat that?" But the Little Prince said that baobabs are really small when they start growing, so a sheep can eat them. And then he asked again for another drawing for this, and the narrator drew it even for the readers to get the idea of how baobabs would have looked on the Little Prince's planet. And then one other day passed. On the fourth day, the little prince told the narrator that, "Oh, I want to watch a sunset." But the narrator said that, "Okay, we will have to wait till the evening to watch the sunset." And at this, the little prince told the narrator that once on his planet, he watched the sunset 43 times in one day. And then he told that when you are sad, it is really nice to look at the sunset. So the narrator knew that okay, there is something wrong with him, but he didn't know about everything because the little prince was not as verbal about his issues. Then came the fifth day, and on the fifth day, the little prince told the narrator about his flower. He had a rose flower in his on his planet that he looked after, that he took care of. He told the narrator that I used to have different kind of flowers, but when this flower bloomed, it was something else, so I had to take care of it. And this flower was really vain. She had 4 thorns, but the little prince took care of her day and night. And the little prince loved her dearly because he thought that there is nobody else like his flower. And when he was leaving the planet, even then the little prince talked with the flower and he was getting really emotional. Apart from the flower, the little prince had 2 active volcanoes in his planet and 1 extinct. Then comes the journey of the little prince of how he actually escaped from his planet. So he took advantage of the migrating birds on his planet to escape that. So the first planet that he visited after leaving his planet was of a king. There was a king there, and when the little prince went there, the king said, "Oh, my subject, what are you doing here?" And the little prince yawned, and the king said, "How can you yawn when I have not ordered you to yawn?" And the little prince was really puzzled by it because he had never met anybody like this. And then the little prince asked the king, "What do you do?" And he said, "I rule over everything." So the little prince was astonished after hearing this. And the little prince said that, "Okay, I would like to watch a sunset. Please ask the sun to set." And the king said, "No, this is not the way that I rule. It is that if I ask a general to become a butterfly and fly from a floor to floor, would it be my mistake that I'm asking a general to become a butterfly and fly, or would it be general's that he cannot do what I'm ordering him to do?" And the little prince said, "Oh, it would be yours." And then the king said that, "Yes, one must only ask people what they are capable of doing." And then the little prince said, "Okay." And then the little prince was about to leave when the king said, "Where are you going? I have not ordered you to go." And the prince said, "But I need to go, I need to leave, I need to see what is on the other planets." And the king said, "I can make you a minister of justice." And the prince asked, "But what would I judge?" And the king said, "You can judge everything." And the prince said, "But I don't want to judge everything." And the king said, "Okay, I think there is a rat on this planet, so you can judge that rat, and you can even condemn that rat to death time by time. But you must know that you will have to excuse the rat each time so that he would survive, because that's the only thing that we can judge." And the little prince thought, "Oh, that's so absurd. I don't want to stay here." And then he went on to the second planet. On the second planet was a swan. Swan is basically an arrogant person. So he was wearing a hat, and when the little prince clapped his hands together, the swan doffed his hat and bowed modestly. And the little prince started doing it again and again, and the swan was repeating the action again and again, bowing, doffing his hat. And then the swan asked the little prince to admire him. The little prince said, "What is admiring?" And the swan said, "When you praise somebody, when you like someone." And the little prince again thought, "Oh, he is again so absurd, he is so bizarre." And then he left the planet and went off to the third planet. Now, on the third planet, there was a drunkard. So the little prince asked the drinker, "Why are you drinking?" Because that drunkard had so many bottles with him, empty ones. And the drunkard said, "To forget." But the little prince said, "What do you want to forget?" The drunkard said, "To forget that I drink." And then the little prince thought, "Oh my god, this person is actually so weird. He is drinking at the same time, but he is drinking to forget that he is drinking." And then the prince left that planet too, and then he went off to the fourth planet. On the fourth planet was a businessman. The little prince asked the businessman, "What do you do?" But the businessman was really busy in counting everything. He was counting numbers, numbers, and numbers. But at the end, the businessman answered him that, "I own everything." And then the little prince asked, "Do you own these stars, the moon, the sun, and everything you can see?" And the businessman said, "Yes, because what nobody owns, I own that. Because those things are not owned by anyone yet, right? So I can own them." And the little prince thought again, "Oh, this is weird. Grown-ups are weird. They are busy in calculations every time." And then he moves to the next planet, that is a fifth one, and there is a lamplighter. The little prince noticed him for some time. He is turning the lamp on and off every minute, and he thinks that night and day changes in a minute. So each day is of a minute. But the little prince thinks that, okay, at least he is doing something. He is busy in some work. He's not like those weirdos that I met. But at the end, he again thought that, oh, nobody's day lasts just 1 minute. So he left that planet and went to the sixth one. In the sixth one, there was a geographer who had a really big book in front of him. And the little prince asked, "What are you?" And the geographer said, "Oh, an explorer has come my way. Come, tell me, what have you explored?" And the little prince said, "Oh no, I don't know about anything." And the geographer tells little prince about different planets, and because the little prince obviously asked him lots of questions. So at the end, the geographers tell him that there is a planet named Earth, and it has a good reputation. So if you want to visit something good, you can go to Earth. And that was when the little prince visited the seventh planet, that is Earth. When he came on Earth, the first person, the first thing that he met was a snake. And the snake told him all about humans. Snake was himself fed up with humans. And then Snake told him that, "I can make you go back to your planet in just a second." The snake was yellow or golden in color. And the little prince, they talked a lot about different things, and then the little prince after some time climbed a mountain because he couldn't find any humans. And then he started to say, hello, hello, do you want to be my friend? I want a friend, I am alone. And of course, because he was on a mountain and he was yelling these things, he could hear his own echo. And then he thought how weird the people of earth are, that they just say the thing that you are telling them. And then after that, he was walking and walking and walking, and then he found a garden. He went into the garden and there were roses, the roses like the rose that he had at his planet. And he was really devastated after looking at the roses, because all this time he was thinking that my rose is the one that is unique. And my rose even told this myself that, oh, there is no rose other like me on the earth or anywhere in the universe. I'm just the one of my kind. And the little prince started weeping, and then he left the garden. He went somewhere, and there he met a fox. The fox, really cunning, the fox wanted to eat him, but then they become friends, and the fox persuaded him on doing the friendship with her. The fox told the little prince that, if you tame me, I would be your friend, and if I tame you, you would be my friend, because right now you are just a boy for me and I'm just a fox for you. But if we love each other, if we care, if we spend time, then it means we have tamed each other, and who you tame, you have to be responsible for them your whole life. So they tame each other, and then when the little prince was leaving, the fox was like, oh, I'm about to weep because now I love you and I care about you. And the little prince was also feeling sad, and at the end, fox told the little prince that you can go tell those roses that you have seen in the garden that your flower is unique because you have tamed that. You have caressed your flower, you have taken care of her. And then the little prince goes back to the rose garden and tells them, all the roses, that my flower is still unique in the world because it has grown beside me. I have taken care of her day and night. So there is no one like him, although you all look like her, but nobody can be her. And then there is this famous line in the book that says that what matters is invisible to the eye. Then the little prince has told all this to the narrator. The narrator actually has fallen in love with the little prince so much because of how he asked everything, how he's still a child, and his perception of word. So it was their eighth day in the Sahara Desert, and they were out of water, so they were getting thirsty. The narrator told the little prince that I'm getting thirsty, and the little prince was also feeling thirsty. And the prince said that let's go on a walk, maybe we would find a well. And eventually, after some time, they found a well, and in that there was water, a bucket was ready. It was as if everything was ready for them and just had to pull the water out of that. They did that, they drank the water, and the little prince told him that, oh, tomorrow it would be first anniversary or 1 year since I am here, so I would have to go back to my planet. And you're somehow, what happens is that the pilot's engine has also started working, so he can also go back to his home. And the little prince really felt sad, and the narrator himself felt sad. They slept, and the next day, when the narrator came, the little prince was on this broken wall, and he was talking with someone. The narrator couldn't make whom he was talking to, but when the narrator came close, he saw that there is a golden snake uh, right on the sand beneath the little prince, and little prince is frightened. He is as white of the snake, but they were talking something. And then when the narrator went to the little prince, he picked up the little prince, he hugged him because he actually loved him. The little prince now was also close to the narrator, so the little prince told that, tonight I will go back to my planet. You don't have to worry about anything. Now you might see my body, you might see that I am dead, but I would not be dead. I would be alive and I would be on my planet. You can simply look on the stars, and those stars will look like bells. I would also, when I would miss you, look at these stars and think about you. And then at night, they are on the desert, and the narrator notices something, a spark of gold, and for a second near the little prince's ankle, and then the prince fell on the sand. There is no sound because of the sand, and he lays there motionless. The narrator himself is really saddened by this. But then when he woke up in the morning, the narrator noticed that the body of little prince is not there. And then he thought that maybe he has actually gone back to his planet. So the narrator came back to his home, And now it's been 6 years since this thing happened with the narrator, and he still misses the little prince, and he still thinks about the sheep, that whether the sheep has eaten the rose or not, whether the little prince is actually taking care of sheep or not, what about the baobabs, has they taken over the planet, or what else could have happened there. So he misses the little prince, and maybe somewhere the little prince also miss him. So this was the story. It's really beautiful. So highly recommended. Just read it. Take care of yourself. Goodbye.